Yo, Sat Slinger already? What's up, everyone? It's America Plus. I'm your host, Cole McCormick. It's another week, another episode. What's going on, people? Happy to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's June 25th, Sunday, 1:33 in the PM. Welcome to America Plus, everybody. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Beautiful day for a Sat Slinger, don't you think? If you are listening to the promotion on Fountain right now, this second, you are being streamed hundreds of Satoshis right now. Welcome to the monthly promotion, folks. This week, this Sat Slinger is incredible. I got a hell of a show for you. I brought incredible clips, incredible narratives. We are making better systems while we create our own systems in our own biology, our own lives, our own kitchens, while we try to fix our country systems, right? I'm excited for today. This week has been fun. It's been a good week at work. No real drama at work. I'm just like assimilating to the kitchen at Rue's Chris. That's been fun. I really want to upgrade my own kitchenware. I need to do that. I need more knives, new knives. I need new cutting boards. I need a new sink. I need more water. I need an entirely new countertop, folks. I want to upgrade everything. Being in the kitchen's really taught me that you need a sharp knife and you need a lot of space. And that's like my dream kitchen. Like I would love there to be like this like dope industrial kitchen in my future home, right? Like would anyone else want that? Does anyone else want that life? Come on now. Come on. This week, I'm doing a little project, a little presidential project, folks. We're coming up to the 2024 election cycle. And I know everyone's afraid. Everyone's like weirded out by it, man. But we are going to get through this, and we have some candidates that are running. And today I'm focusing on RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr. I guarantee you the perspective that I'm about to bring you is absolutely unique, so please stick around for that. Later in the show, I'm going to be sharing more business plans, more Bitcoin business plans that I have for my own creative stuff, for my own movie, so stick around towards the end to hear that update on that. I think it's a really good idea. Just combining Bitcoin with art, combining Bitcoin with anything, just makes it better. Spoiler alert.
It's basically you put Bitcoin with anything, and all of a sudden that is more efficient.
RFK has been talked about a lot this week. Last week on America Plus, I pulled some clips from Joe Rogan. So last week he was on. RFK Jr. was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and it went ballistic. It went absolutely, totally just berserko. Everyone was talking about it. And I'm not just talking about like anyone. Like I really, truly mean everyone was talking about RFK on Rogan. Really fascinating to hear. Of course, when you listen to the Adam Curry podcast, they're talking about how he's been always open about vaccines. He's been on the cautious side for decades of vaccines. He's been supporting women. He's been supporting the environment for all his life. And all you got to do is do a simple Google search on the guy and see what he's been about. Clearly, his family's been in politics. We all know that, yada yada. But what I didn't know he's a falconer. He's a professional falcon trainer. And he's been doing that since he was a kid, since he was 11 years old. So just a fun fact of that, like, wow. So right off the bat, this guy loves animals. I like that. And he's also an experienced whitewater rapids kayaker. And so those two like athletic and like environmental things I thought was interesting. Aside, everyone always focuses on the vaccines. Everyone always focuses on the lawsuits and Monsanto and all this. And, I'm really looking for a different perspective. I'm looking for a new narrative, a different narrative for my president. I'm not saying that I'm voting for RFK Jr. right now, but what I am willing to do is to explore his words, to explore the mindset that is coming from his campaign, and and surrounding it as well. I'm focusing on the people who are speaking to Kennedy, along with what Kennedy is saying. We're focusing on spirituality. Most of this talk is going to be focused on his spirit. Is this spirit? Is this energy the right type of energy we need in the White House? Can this energy, is there a new type of energy that can change our system of politics. It's not a clear answer. It's not a clear solution. It's not a clear problem. It's not a very simple problem. And so I just want to be absolutely clear. I hope if you've listened to any second of me speak, of course I have zero answers. I just have a bunch of convictions. But hopefully these people's convictions can hopefully lead us to a more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. I'll get more into that in a little bit. When it comes to the spirituality of Kennedy, full disclosure, I didn't listen to the whole episode of Rogan. I listened to like 3/4 of it, so they could have talked about it in that back quarter. But as far as I'm concerned, he only talked about the medical stuff. I first heard about Kennedy running from a spiritual podcast, from the Aubrey Marcus podcast. If you don't know, Aubrey Marcus is just a guy. He does like just spiritual stuff. He makes spiritual content. He does his own coaching stuff. Just sort of been following him. He's the creator of On It, the company On It, where I get all my workout stuff from. Anyway, he does a lot of praying. He does a lot of psychedelic stuff. He does a lot of searching and thinking. And he put out an interview. He was one of the first podcasts I listened to where he spoke to Kennedy, and I got to listen to what he had to say. And I've always been intrigued, and I've always wanted to just continue to follow him. And it's not just very simple. The Aubrey Marcus stuff, it's not, it is a simple narrative. Whenever I use the phrase, a more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible, it's coming from him. It's sort of like this idealistic framework for unity, for people coming together, for humanity to come together. And I've always just thought that was pretty. I've always thought that it was like a beautiful thing to be a part. And he has a friend. His name's his friend is named Charles Einstein. And I found a podcast. First of all, I went to RFK Jr.'s podcast. If you don't know this, RFK Jr. has a podcast. Back in May 2023, he did a podcast with this Charles Einstein character. And Charles Einstein, he's this philosopher. He was against all the COVID mandates, and he leaned into writing about it and talking about his thoughts on whatever the current moment was, and chaos, and meditating. And he developed a community himself during COVID, centered around spirit and meditating and rehoning the chaos. Whatever chaos is within you, develop a routine or develop something. He's one of those guys who wants to help people. And I guess he's in RFK Jr.'s circle of influence. He's one of the, right now, he's currently advising RFK. And they spoke on RFK Jr.'s podcast. And this is what, here's a 2-minute clip of what RFK Jr.'s spirituality is. And just to give you a bit more of a mindset of where it is. It's not simply Catholic. It's not simply he goes to church. I think this could be an evolution of how we view how we want our leaders to be spiritual, man. Check this out.
I really rely on 12-step meetings, and I was going to 9 a week during the pandemic. I've been doing that for 40 years. And, because that's where I get kind of spiritual renewal and confirmation and validation, and also the opportunities for service that you get through that, which is really what keeps people sane. If you're feeling depressed, or if you're feeling disconsolate or uncertain or anxious, the one thing that will transform that immediately like magic is if you try to help somebody else. And you get a lot of those opportunities in 12-step programs. I do meditation every day, so that centers me spiritually. It's like when I did a lot of whitewater kayaking and a lot of first ascents on big rivers all over the world. And when you're scouting a rapid, you climb a bluff above the rapid and you look at it for a long time and make a plan. You make a line, how you're going to get through it and the moves you're going to have to make. And then you try to stay on that line. And if you can do that, you're going to be okay. And a lot of times you'll wash out and then you're at the mercy of the river. And that's what, to me, meditations are like. It's like sitting still and planning your day and say, how am I going to stay spiritually centered during this day and these difficulties, and asking for help, and then trying to say, okay, when I speak to this child, I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to try to be understanding. When I speak to this, a worker or a business partner or whatever, I'm going to do it in a way that's calm and not give in to anger or fear or whatever. And so, that helps me a lot. And of course, a lot of times you can't stick with your plan. You end up washing out, and then but you get another chance the next day. God's given us the gift of time, but he cut it into these manageable units called days. And every day you can start over and try to do better.
Remember back in 2016 when there was that woman, her name was Miriam Williamson. She was running for president, and she was like the spiritual girl. She was like the spiritual woman. She was like the aura type, and she was like literally on the debate stage with all the Democrats. And everyone said she was a kook because of her spirituality. I remember that specifically. And now we have RFK Jr., just openly speaking about his practice, about how he finds solace in his life, about how he finds value going to these 12-step programs. Now, forgive me, I did not go all the way deep if there was like some alcohol issue with him. Maybe there was, maybe there is. I'm not worried about that. The fact of the matter is that he's good now. He's a good man now, and he finds this area useful to him for his spirit. And that's really important for people to hear. You don't hear Biden saying that. You don't hear Trump saying that. You don't hear, you hear zero leaders. You hear zero leaders talk about that, let alone politics and all that. Like, you don't hear any tech CEOs talk about spirituality. You hear them talk about meditation, which is like interesting, I guess. But, for some reason, I have this tendency to think of like the tech world meditation app vibe as less spiritual. We got to find like a deeper way to connect than just a 10-minute mindfulness thing. That every tech that's like so modern right now. Like, oh, are you doing your 10-minute meditation a day? It's like, I feel like there has to be more. A 10-minute meditating system. That's good if you're just starting out, but for humans, for moving into this new world, for trying to build better systems, like, we need to have a real practice. Like, as individuals, like, I don't know what that looks like, but I continue to try to find my ritual, my meditation. It's not consistent, This year specifically just hasn't been consistent. I did 3 months of Joe Dispenza stuff. I did just general prayer, just trying to pray more, but that hasn't been consistent every day. Some days I feel good, some days I feel bad. On the bad days, I'm thinking about, I need to pray more. And on the good days, I'm like, okay, maybe I should pray. But then I just like don't. So it's refreshing to hear a man who's 69 years old and is absolutely jacked out of his mind. You see that photo on Twitter? Here's a photo on Twitter I saw that this guy's working out in an outdoor gym. RFK's jacked, dude. I'm trying to get that body myself. Like, this healthy senior citizen is open about his struggle and about what he does. Here's another clip, 53-second clip of how RFK meditates.
Have you been able to maintain a meditation practice during the rigors and the daily intensity of the campaign?
Yeah. I have to. It's not an option for me. What I do, Charles, I do a hike. I do a walking meditation. So I hike every morning in the wilderness, and I do my meditations then. And I have a discipline that I go to that I've been doing for 40 years, and it just works well for me. It keeps me centered for most of the day. By the end of the day, everything gets ragged. I have a friend who says that the devil sleeps late and it's really easy to be a good person in the morning, but, by late afternoon, that, he's putting on his dress coat and his tuxedo and spats and wants to, and it becomes harder and harder as the day goes on.
My immediate takeaway is that RFK seems authentic. He seems to be just a guy. He's talking about just a normal day of just, you might be in a good headspace early in the morning in the woods by yourself. And then by the end of the day, you've had a few meetings, you've done a few interviews, you've done, you got a few people calling you a liar, or you got some anti-vaxxing shit, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to feel like an asshole. You're going to want to, like, I totally feel that at the end of the day, I just want to like punch my boss in the face and just say, fuck you. Like, I'm out of here, dude. Like, bye-bye. But earlier, like 9 hours earlier, when I walked in, I'm all like happy-go-lucky, cool. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Ready to make some food? Woo! Like, I relate to that personally. And I think a lot of other spiritual people, anyone who focuses on their spirit, they can, I believe they can see that same pattern, just the normal day. Did Obama ever talk about his spiritual life? Did Obama ever talk about how the struggles during the day, it's tough being the president. It's wake up every morning and there's a new problem. What if there was like a more spiritual leader, Like what if? Just what if? I would love that, for any Christian in America, for any religious person in America. It is evident that America has lost her values, and America has been loosening its hold on her belief in God. As a culture, we really have been doing that. We really have been letting go of God, and with that has been a let go of values and a let go of certain traditions, and some communities online, they're going to blame pride, or other communities, they're going to blame Democrats, and they're going to blame, that entire side of the field. Like there is an easy way to point a finger at why these values are being degraded. But at the same time, simultaneously, you have the opportunity to choose to value you right now, right here. And in every situation, positive or negative, you have the choice to lean into these good values, to a first principle value. These are like things that you begin with, like love, honesty. These are things that you absolutely need to begin with when it comes to engaging in any new relationship or conversation, or like there needs to be a grounding of things. And we've been losing that. It's been clear. We have absolutely been losing that. And one thing that's been really on my mind is how complicated these like narratives are, when it comes to, if you're doing any research on the transgender stuff, it's if you're a normal thinking human, and this is even in the What is a Woman documentary, and it's on like every meme, whatever, like, we don't care if you're trans or not. Like, we care if you're like doing shit to kids, normal people don't have a problem with who you are or how you want to express, it's about your values. How are you implementing your values into the world? And, there's clearly classes of people that believe certain things, that they believe in certain things, but they do not embody them. And it's like this like weird hypnosis. It's some sort of group think. I can't really define it, and that's how complex it is. And to talk about more of that complexity here, so here's another clip from a different podcast, from the Aubrey Marcus podcast. They're talking about the lack of simplicity, the lack of simple solutions, and how we've been trained as a society to think in simple terms. We can no longer do that. We gotta figure out a way to create like complicated solutions, like solutions for complicated problems. Like, it is not as simple as good and evil. Like there is nuance in all of these things, and there is different angles to everything. Check this out.
Since that conversation, it's only your role advising him and messaging and communicating.
I'm sorry, real quick. The Aubrey Marcus podcast, Aubrey is speaking to Charles Einstein, and he just referenced like the last few clips that we just listened to. So one more time. Let's go.
Conversation, it's only your role advising him and messaging and communication, and all that you have to offer is only expanded. So that brings us to, part of the reason why we're here is to talk about, all right, like how does this presidential, campaign, even if it's just a campaign, just entering into the conversation, or potential victory, contribute to that more beautiful world our hearts know is possible? Like, what is this? How do you see this playing out in all of those different ways? And what does that world look like in a, Bobby Kennedy as president?
Yeah. He doesn't surround himself with sycophants and yes men, and so like it actually encourages me that he values my advice, even though we don't agree on certain issues.
Yep.
And there are others in the close circle that are similar, and maybe someday an issue will come up that's so important to me that I have to part ways. That could happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the issues are irrelevant,
right?
But our society is facing changes that are so profound that they don't fit into the categories of the issues. And we're going to need somebody who can enter into that, I call it the fertile ground of bewilderment, and not too quickly default to a simplistic solution that comes from old reflexes.
What a scary, like, big picture, bird's eye view, God's view, like, shot of like Earth and like society, right? Like we are heading into a completely radically like new world, right? This is the perspective. This is the perspective. Some people really believe the world's ending. You talk to some of my, there's just one ex-girlfriend I have. Her father has always been on the end time stuff. Like even when, like I dated this girl in high school, right? Like 10 plus years ago, this guy was talking about the end times. Like he's got me on the front porch talking about Revelations. He's really doing that. And he's Christian. There are Christians who truly believe that the world is ending. And I would clearly, if you do any listening with the Aubrey Marcus people, their view is that the world is changing. The view is that humanity is going through a rebirth. Whatever we knew was true, or I'm sorry, not true. True is the wrong word. Whatever we knew to be normal is no longer normal, and whatever we knew to be working no longer works. And so that presents the opportunity for us to do better. That presents the opportunity for us to evolve and to grow and to become more cohesive somehow. And that's been a narrative that I've been attached to. I've been really trying to lean into that. I want to believe that. I really want to believe that. I would love to believe that. And hopefully like other people agree with that. I don't know what that looks like for the presidency. I don't really know. I don't have the answer for that. I don't have this clear vision of how the future works. But I know that it's people coming together based on core values. He said Charles Einstein said something interesting in that where he goes. Let me go back to it real quick.
Others in the close circle that are similar, and maybe someday an issue will come up that's so important to me that I have to part ways. That could happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the issues are irrelevant,
right?
But our society is facing changes that are so profound that they don't fit into the categories of the issues.
It's just so true. And so if it's not as simple, the issue, what are we valuing here? Like he said something interesting about the field. Oh, this is what it was. The field of bewilderment. Okay. Charles Einstein said the field of bewilderment. I've never heard that word before. Definition goes, bewilderment, a feeling of being perplexed and confused. In a sentence, there was bewilderment at the sudden change. So, I mean, that's COVID, right? That's exactly what we've been going through. Like, precisely. Like, this is bewilderment can describe the fourth turning that I've talked about before, the fourth turning book. You know, we are in this fourth turning of this moment in history. We're going through the crisis right now, and we're all confused, and our values are changing, and we have an opportunity. We have a real opportunity here. And what are those values? Aubrey brings up these values.
And so what do you rely on in the field of bewilderment? You rely on values, right? Like values and first principles really are like, to me, in my mind, is what forms the foundation, which is like honesty, integrity, like care, love, like those values are the things that are actually going to be the only things that are clear in when everything gets foggy and you're lost in the wilderness. Like, what do you come back to? If I'm in a psychedelic journey and I'm in a fucking crazy place where everything up is down and left is right and light is dark and dark is light and I'm confused, I go back to the pillar of like, all right, I just have to love my way out of this. Just have to love my way out of this. Love whatever I can love. And I'll love my way out of this mess. So it's like, it pushes me back to like the core values. And that's, I think, something we've never seen in politics, is someone who is like value driven, like bound by values rather than issues and ideologies and reflexes. And I see that in him. I see him as like a person of a man of value.
He's a man who's had humbling experiences in his life, tragedies and that I think have convinced him that he's no better than any other man.
Mm-hmm.
And, people like the values you mentioned, pretty much everybody says that they have those values. So I think it's not so much a matter of principle, but rather the life experiences that have driven those principles into your cells.
That hit me hard as fuck when I listened to that. The men speaking right there were not like, have zero understanding of what it might feel like to have two family members shot and killed. Like very, very few people understand what it means to have multiple people of your family to be murdered while they try to do good things, while they seek to do positive in the world. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is someone who had his father die, man. Can you imagine saying like having to can you imagine holding on to the fact that your father was shot and killed? Can you imagine holding on to just the fact? Just the fact, my dad was shot and killed. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, why is he running? Why is he doing anything like this? And I gotta believe that it's value driven. I gotta believe that it's honesty. I gotta believe that it's something else tied to God than just vain power or some money making scheme or some just, like back in 2016, people were criticizing Trump that his campaign was just one big advertisement for the Apprentice TV show, and I think in the past, I think he might have talked about running for president pre-2016 as a real advertisement for his show, just to get your name in the in the headlines, But Bobby Kennedy, like, it's the complete opposite, like suing big pharma. Like, I don't understand how I know how you can make money, but like, I don't understand why going after these the largest, and in my opinion, most corrupt companies ever. I don't know what kind of good that does for you when they own, when those are the same people who own the media and own the narratives. And, I was listening to Adam Curry and he said, he played a clip of RFK talking about how he thinks podcast is the 2024 election, like, medium. this specific election and possible future elections will be handled mostly by podcasts. And I tend to believe that. You know, I'm playing clips of different podcasts myself. I only have podcasts to cut and splice up. So we'll see what happens. This last clip I have of Kennedy talking, this is him on Rogan, and this makes me tend to believe, this 6-second clip makes me tend to believe the man's word.
Because nobody should trust my word on this. You know, what I say is irrelevant. What is relevant is the science.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Bobby Kennedy. Though what's relevant is the science. Anyone who's talking about Bobby Kennedy acting like he's acting as if he's speaking on behalf of science, he's doing some horrible thing, like just play him that 6-second clip, dude. It's not about his word. It's about the science.
Trust my word on this. You know, what I say is irrelevant. What is relevant is the science.
Like facts, dude. Facts. How does a person move through that? I got one more clip right here. How does a person move through that? How do you not hate everyone around you when you have 2 family members dead, when you have the media going after you for being an anti-vaxxer, you got the head of the NIH calling you a liar? Like, how are you not hateful? You know, how can you meditate in the woods in Tennessee every day and still, like, how can you function, man? I don't get it. And I agree with what Aubrey and Charles were saying about, like, he's gone through experiences that have embedded into his cells. He has life experiences that have embedded themselves into his cells, just like everyone else. You know, this is where trauma comes in. You know, this is where learned behavior comes in. He's had that experience. There's another person who's had that type of experience, a similar experience of being persecuted, and has come out the other side loving. Check this out.
All the persecution's been wonderful. It's
Alex Jones. Let's go.
Persecution's been wonderful. It's really taught me a lot, and it's helped me be a better person. So I want to thank my enemies for everything they've done to me, and I want to encourage them not to be destroyed by their master that will destroy them. And I want to have a future with them on a planet we can all live on. And so I want to tell my enemies, I love you and I care about you, and Jesus loves you, and you just need to ask Jesus to come into your heart, and God will set you on the right path and forgive you. And that's really the answer. And I would just really encourage them to find God. Amen. Because let me tell you, God and the devil are real. You better get that straight.
I play that as a joke and because it's real as fuck. Like, the narrative that we need to construct is that we can all come together. The narrative that we need to that we need to agree on is our enemies are welcome into this new world that we want. Our enemies are welcomed in this beautiful world that all of our hearts know is possible. That must exist. That must be something that we take into consideration. The kingdom of God accepts everyone, right? The kingdom of God, like, it's here for everyone. Like, we need to build these systems for everyone. We just have this opportunity to make more loving systems. Like, simple as that, dude. And Alex Jones, like, find Jesus. Find Jesus. One more time. Hang on, just let me play it one more time.
Persecution's been wonderful. It's really taught me a lot, and it's helped me be a better person. So I want to thank my enemies for everything they've done to me.
Thank you.
And I want to encourage them not to be destroyed by their master that will destroy them. And I want to have a future with them on a planet we can all live on. And so I want to tell my enemies, I love you and I care about you, and Jesus loves you, and you just need to ask Jesus to come into your heart, and God will set you on the right path and forgive you. And that's really the answer. And I would just really encourage them to find God. Amen. Because let me tell you, God and the devil are real. You better get that straight.
And with that, folks, we are now heading on into the boosts. Ladies and gentlemen, America Plus is a value for value show. If you don't know what value for value means you get to determine the value of this show. I put a lot of effort in this show. I try to do my best of creating enticing content. You know, I'm documenting my creative experiences. I'm trying to seek the healthier narratives for our world. And, you know, a healthier system for content and podcasting is when you have a feedback loop that you can engage with. If you didn't know this already, go to valueforvalue.com.
Go to valueforvalue.info for more info, then download the Fountain.fm app. It's the best way to support the show.
My favorite way to do value for value is through the Fountain app. If you're already on it, that's awesome. You got to get on it. because I give out Satoshis on there like we are right now, motherfuckers. Fountain's legit. You can boost me. It's called boosting. I'm going to be reading some boosts right now, some boostograms. These people saw some value in the show last week. Number 75, Debate or Die. Last week I talked about there's like, so when RFK was on Joe Rogan, they talked about some random virologist who's like, he's like anti-Kennedy, whatever. He's anti-Rogan. He's like some fat pudgy guy who doesn't believe in exercising. And the show is about that. I also shared some of my updates on Purple Man Chicken, which is my character in my animated short coming up, along with a character that I am expanding into more feature films. It's a silly character, but a good character. So these people who commented, who gave me a boost, they felt like donating some Satoshis. And here we go. Let's see what we got. Our first one is from @Mere Mortals Podcast, my friend Kyron Down from Australia. What up, Kyron? He sends in a row of ducks, 2,222 sats. Thank you very much. He says, I'm digging Purple Man Chicken. With all the adoration over the last decade, I like the idea of a character who has to deal with animosity or apathy to find their inner contentment. Get it, Cole? Yes, sir.
Boost me, bitch.
Yes, sir, Kyron. Thank you very much. Yeah, dude, Purple Man Chicken is like, he's a self-love character. Like, what happens when you're forced to love yourself when everyone else around you hates you? Like, that's an interesting situation to be in. And what kind of a transformation do you have to go through to love yourself? Like, that's the big overarching story. I'm really excited for that. The next few come from @Joel W. Good friend Joel W. from the East Coast. My guy, his first boost. First of all, he sends in 3 boosts. The first one, a whopping 3,333 sats. Is that like a mega boob donation? I don't know what that is, dude. Like, what is 3,333? Like, what is that? What's the numerology on that? Like, what's the name of that? I don't know. Joel says, quote unquote, narratives are always constructed with 2 allowable sides of debate that are always the perfect mirror image of each other every single time. The truth is always somewhere in the parts that aren't in the allowable discussion. Yeah, dude.
Boostar.
Joel, I agree. I like, you and me agree. Like, dude, we're changing the world together, dude. Me and you together forever. Next one from him, he sends in a satchel of Richards, 1,111 sats. Joel says, Purple Man Chicken versus Man Bear Pig in the future? Yes, dude. Yes.
And now, as the French say, it is time for le boost.
Man Bear Pig. That's a South Park reference if you don't know that. And I absolutely freaking love it, dude. Let's get Trey Parker in on this, dude. Like, I want to do animation. Like, I think there's alignment here, Joel. I think I think you're one of my, thank you for being a producer, Joel. I haven't mentioned that. These people are producers. You just gave me a great idea. Thank you, Joel. The last one he sends in, it's a really, really cute 333 sats. The last thing he says is, wasn't aware of the Godfather 3 re-edit, or not, that I recall at least. Joel, you got to get in on that re-edit, dude. The Godfather Part 3 coda, go for it, bro.
Boost.
You got to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't buy the Blu-ray, but you got to watch it, man. You got to watch it. Thank you to those people who gave me some Satoshis and who wanted to support the show. When you support me, when you donate, when you do anything, when you do anything involved with living and breathing, you're helping me continue on my path of creating the world that I want to create, creating my own Star Wars. I'm building this community, and together we're just trying to just have some fun, and we're trying to just make cool things. We're trying to combine art and Bitcoin. You know, that's my main focus on this. The whole reason why I wanted to get involved with podcasting 2.0 and Fountain was that I saw this opportunity to make art with Bitcoin. I've been obsessed with podcasting since I was out of high school. You know, I did my first podcast in 2016, and like I saw the value, I felt the value, like it's in my bones. And podcasting has always been on my mind, and America Plus has been one of those great blessings where I can actually reiterate, or I can practice iterating, engaging with people and engaging with an audience that doesn't have to be vain or malice or some sort of like surface level thing. Like, I'm not really looking for sponsors here. I'm looking for producers. I'm looking for producers who want to help me out, send me Satoshis, who want to give me ideas, and who want to give their time, talent, and treasure to just something cool. And that's really what I think is like unique about me and what I want to do. And a part of the uniqueness is this new thing that I came up with a couple nights ago. I've been, you know, when it comes to combining Bitcoin and art, you know, I've always had this idea of like doing a movie with Bitcoin somehow. Like, there has to be a movie. Not as in like the movie is about Bitcoin. I mean, like, I want to make a really, really good movie, and I make a Bitcoin from it. I think that, first of all, it's a brilliant idea. Second of all, how the fuck is that going to happen? And I had I had a wonderful Bitcoin experience where it was like Friday night, and I was like, Bitcoin, 100 million Satoshis, 100 million Satoshis for one Bitcoin. Every Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. I want to do a movie. How many Satoshis would I need? I need 100 million. So if I want to make a Bitcoin, I need 100 million. And I just kept like going back and forth in my head. And I was like, hang on. How many people do I need to give me how many Satoshis so I can make a Bitcoin? And I go, ding, 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 ding. Oh, hang on. What's the number here? Let's make it an easy number. What's 10? What if I need 10,000? How many people do I need to give me 10,000 Satoshis? Can that work out? And of course, folks, you do the math. 100 million Satoshis divided by 10,000 equals 10,000. Folks, this new business plan of mine, I need to make a community big enough so that I can attract 10,000 people to give me 10,000 Satoshis to watch my movie. Huh? What do you think of that? Huh? It's like a simple idea. It's like a dirt simple idea. There's like, I'm imagining just a paywall. But the vision is there now, and now I have some hard numbers on it. A few weeks ago, not a few weeks ago. Earlier this week, former CEO of Twitter, Jack, he posted this link to this website called nodeless.com or something like that, nodeless.io. I'll find it. I'll put the photo up. Pretty much, this Nodeless website allows you to do e-commerce and apply paywalls with Bitcoin. You can have a Bitcoin paywall. And so the idea is, it's as simple as that. Like, I'm going to have a website that's holding my movie. And I'm not talking about the short film now. I'm not talking about the animated short that's like 15 minutes long that's coming out on Christmas Day 2023. I'm not talking about that. This is a completely different thing. This is the movie. I'm talking about the movie. The movie. Like hour and a half long, 90 plus minutes. It's going to be on a website, and for you to watch it, you're going to have to pay 10,000, possibly more, but we'll do 10,000. 10,000 sats, so you get in, and you're able to watch the movie, and then you can, I'm imagining some option where you can buy a digital code, like get the digital code, unlock it for your Vudu, for your Movies Anywhere, whatever, iTunes, and then like bada bing, bada boom. Like, isn't that simple? And all I need to do, like, that's been my idea the entire time, like just to build the community and get people excited for my stuff, and then make good stuff like this movie. Now, the real issue is that the movie needs to be good. The movie needs to be so good and so interesting, 10,000 people are willing to give me 10,000 Satoshis. That is a radically big ask. And some Bitcoiners might say, like, yes and no, like, not really. Like, it's 10,000 Satoshis. Like, what's 10,000 Satoshis? Like, not a lot of money. It's like barely $1. Like, I don't even know right now. I don't like doing that math. I know that my 320,000 sats right now in Fountain is worth like $97. So what is 10,000 sats? You know, is that really worth it? Is that really worth it for a movie? You know, I think it is. You know, because you got to spend like $4 to rent some old ass movie on Amazon. You know, how about I just make a movie for cheap? The business side would be I make a movie for like 15 grand, 20 grand. And then if I make a Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin right now is 30 grand. If the movie comes out in the next year, like 2 years, let's just say 2 years, I don't know where Bitcoin price will be, but hopefully it's higher than where it is now. By the time, you know, if my movie comes out 2025, there will have already been another Bitcoin halving. And clearly when you see the charts, after every Bitcoin halving, there's always a large increase in the price. So if I'm working with just a larger than 30 grand number, and I do my best and I innovate and I make a good movie for 15, 20 grand, and then I make a Bitcoin from that, like at the lowest level, that could be quite possibly a $5,000 fiat profit, you know? But if it's higher and I get a Bitcoin, then I'm fucking rich. Like, I think it's a good ass plan. 10,000 people to give me 10,000 sats. Or am I wrong on that? Like, let me open myself up for criticism. Like, am I wrong? I've never been good at math, folks. I passed math with a D. I graduated high school with a D in math, okay? I need help on this. I'm not a business guy. I don't know when the banks are going to fail. I just know that they will. I don't know when. I just know that they are. I don't know how this is going to work. I just know that it will. But I think it's a good idea. I got really excited about that. So that's like sort of like the new, that's how the mission evolves, you know? The mission is to make a Bitcoin from my art. I think it works. I think other people should, I hope other people start thinking about that. You know, there's all this conversation about like Bitcoin ordinals and NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain and all these things. And it's like, I don't think it needs to be that complicated. If we want to use Bitcoin as a new money system, then let's just use it to pay for the things that we want to do and watch and whatever, you know, like if we want to use it, then just use it. Like, give me 10,000 sats to watch my movie. Like, come on, dude. Come on. It's that easy. Tell me what you think about that, folks. If you think there's value in that plan, like, please let me know. Send me some sats and tell me your thoughts, because I would love nothing more than to hear what you have to say. When you donate, you are a producer. When you contribute, you are a producer. This is America Plus, and we are bringing together just better narratives for a more beautiful world that all of our hearts know is possible. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it's going to work. But you know, who knows? We got to change the plans. What did RFK say? Sometimes you get whipped around. You get. I can't do a good RFK impression. Can anyone do a offensive RFK impression? Like, I can't do it yet. Like, it sounds like JFK. Like, by the end of the decade, we'll have gone to the moon. But it sounds like his voice is like as if like someone's like squeezing something. Like, I can't like do it. I can't do it like, we need more. It sounds. I don't want to do it yet. I'm not gonna try. I don't want to do anything rude. I'm gonna respect the guy, but I gotta get this accent down. Someone needs to have a good impression of the president, of the future president. Oh, here we go. I'm already voting for him. Here we go. I'm already voting. I already lost my way. I'm voting for the Kennedy, folks. But yeah, folks, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you found value in this. Hopefully you found value in this RFK discussion. Like, I want spirituality to be more discussed in the world, and I want our leaders to be more godly. And I think we should all be looking towards that. We should all be moving towards that. So that's America Plus, bitch. Stay free.